We have a new contributor. Her name's Freya. She's not very good at coding or much of anything, but I think we can make her the Falco honorary contributor, right? Okay.
So nice.
And we have another one. This is Lily.
Oh, that's bigger.
Very, very nice. Ooh.
Right, Lily? Come here. You want to be a contributor too?
I think we can start. Hi everyone, and welcome to this weekly community call. As I already said, if you haven't already done it, please write down your name under the Who Joined section in the HackMD. I just shared the link on the chat here on Zoom. Remember that during this call, the CNCF code of conduct applies, so please be kind and nice to everyone else. And last but not least, this call is being recorded, so if you don't want to be recorded, please turn your camera off. Okay, let's go to this week highlights. I see that there is a huge point, and I don't know who is gonna talk about it, but basically the governance update is approved. Who's gonna talk? Julio, of course.
Yeah, I can talk. I'm very proud to announce that the change we prepared the last week have been approved. Basically, even the previous is still open. We reached the super majority today, basically in 3 days. So the changes are approved. I don't know. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that was involved, and I can advise you to take a look to the new document that's inside of the request. The major point that changed in the governance basically are things that we already did in the past, but now are very formalized and written down. In particular, we defined the Falco principles like openness, respect, transparency, diversity, but also having a vibrant evolution. This is something that we were inspired by Kubernetes, that say evolution is better than stagnation. Also, we defined who are the core repository and who are the core maintainers. We introduced the possibility to create a technical advisory group, basically tags, like in the CNCF and the project. Also, we defined a very precise decision-making process. So basically, now we know exactly when using lazy consensus or using the voting system or whatever. Those are the major points that were introduced in the governance document. That, by the way, most of those things were already used in the Falco community, but just they weren't documented well. That's it. And thank you again, and thank you again to all the folks involved in this huge effort. Also, we received the advice and the help of the tag contributor strategy of the CNCF, that they helped a lot. So thank you to everyone.
Very, very cool. Thank you, Leo. Can you see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. It is working. Okay. So let's go on to the agenda. There is a first point about the much loved Falco CTL tool.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to say that as Aldo already said the last time, we are working on Falco CTL to distribute rules and plugins for Falco, and in general Falco artifacts, meaning that if in the future there are other kind of artifacts, we want to find a solution to distribute any kind of artifact related to Falco. So we did some research, and we discovered that the Open Container Initiative wrote down some some ways to distribute generic artifacts using the registry that are used to distribute plugins, to distribute container images. And in this way, we have the opportunity to define new meta type for each artifact, and use the same servers, the same distribution registry to distribute any kind of artifact. And in particular, we want to use it for plugins and rules. So I wrote down in the Falco CTL repository our plan and some of the points that led us to this solution. And if anyone wants to discuss about it or has any other ideas, is welcome. We are free. We are open to questions and to discuss. And basically, this is the overall view. And Falco CTL will have a command line that is pretty similar to the ones of Docker when you use Docker to interact with a registry. So as you see, the login command and logout to login and logout to the remote registry, and push and pull to store and retrieve artifacts. We think that this solution is good because there's plenty of libraries that can interact with OSI artifacts. And these libraries are not dependent on the service you're gonna use, meaning that for now we are implementing a solution using, for instance, GHCR, which is the container registry offered by GitHub. But later we can switch to any other container registry we want without changes to the code. And this is one of the advantages. And also, this approach was also taken by other CNCF projects like Helm and OPA. And it seems to be the right way to solve the distribution problem. And that's it, basically.
Well,
If you have questions or something, feel free. I just want to add a comment, because I remember that in the initial discussion, I suggested to basically use Helm as an example. If you know Helm, basically Helm repository is just a YAML file with a bunch of metadata. But then Lorenzo discovered that basically also Helm support this new way to pull artifact that, in my opinion, is really genius, because this way OCI artifact can be used for everything, and we can exploit their system, their API to distribute Falco artifacts. I believe this is a really nice idea.
very nice. Does anyone want to add a comment or any question on this? I take this as a no. Thank you, Laura. Great work, really. So, Alban, as you shared 30 minutes ago on the Falco channel, you're trying to measure the CPU usage of Falco BPF programs, right?
Yes, hi. Yes, I'm part of the Inspector Gadget team with Michael, who is in the chat as well. And we are working on a tool to measure the CPU usage of BPF programs. And I was trying that with Falco, with the eBPF driver. And then, so that's the very beginning. It just shows in real time how much milliseconds or nanoseconds or how much seconds use each BPF programs. So I posted a screenshot on the Slack channel. I don't know if I can show it here. If you would like.
Yeah, I think it would be neat. Thank you.
Let's try. Can you see my terminal?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have Kubernetes with Falco installed and inspector gadget installed. So I can run this command kubectl gadget top eBPF, and I want to display the results for 10 seconds. So what it does is it should every second refresh the view, and I have the list of BPF programs. Most of them here belong to Falco, one to systemd, and it shows how many times they are called and how many milliseconds they are took in the last second, and cumulated time over 10 seconds.
Very nice. I think this can definitely help us understand which are the trace point, the behavior trace point, and perhaps do some benchmarkings on BPF. Andrea is not present here today, but I will talk about this. Oh well, you will see it in the Falco channel, of course. Thank you very
Alban,
much.
is this like code public already, or do you want to share like a link if you can, or?
Yes, the code is public. I can give a link on the chat.
Yeah. Andrea is working on the new BPF probe, and this will be like a tremendous contribution for him to better understand how much more performant it is.
I think we can go on to the next point. Thank you, Alban. So I see that Vicente is doing some updates on the Falco website. I will share the preview while he's talking.
Yep, please. So I was working on the upgrade to Hugo 01010 and Doxy 030. I didn't upgrade to the latest version of Doxy because this version was much easier to reach, less changes, so I wanted to make it incremental. I fixed a couple of broken links that were in translation, and it seems to work fine. The only difference is in the blog, there used to be a sidebar on the right side that shouldn't be there because it was removed from one of the templates, but it was still appearing. So now it doesn't appear anymore. The sidebar menu is the same one that we have in documentation that allow us to create a page on the website. So basically it interacts with the GitHub API. I don't think it's much use for the blog. And if we click on one of the posts, can you go in one of those? We still have the table of contents on the right, much cleaner, and we can jump to any section from the post. So if you go now for a moment to the documentation, you will see the sidebar I was mentioning before. Yeah, that's the one. In the newer version, there are more items, but I just respected the one we had before. So have a look to the pull review, to the pull request, to the preview, and if you're fine with it, we can upgrade the merge. I also added some little script in the make file because one of the problems I was having when deploying to Netlify is that we were running out of quota, pulling the files from the GitHub API. So now it just triggers a small call. It shows how many we still have left, and we can identify if the problem was the quota and when we can retry the deploy. I haven't translated the deploy to time. We can do that later. Yeah, so basically it's just a call with a JSON translate.
Again, very nice. Really
That's it.
nice. Thank you, Vicente. Wow, it looks nice.
It's great. Thank you.
It was fun, a lot of learning.
Yeah, we had Netlify crashing too much, I think, over the past few months. So
I know, yeah.
this check is like gold.
Yeah, we are pulling these files from the on the GitHub API, even though we might have them in the website, so we wouldn't need them to be. I don't think we are updating the version and the gRPC protocol protobuf files so often. Those are the ones that are being pulled. Or maybe we decide that we do that for production, but we don't do that in the preview. That would be an option. So we limit the quota. The thing is, the quota is probably shared by all users from Netlify. So I don't think we are controlling that.
Okay. So on to the last point. Jan wants to talk about the discussions with Google for support of Falco kernel drivers, right?
Yep. This was something that I had mentioned in chat in Slack some time back. Just the dealing with I work in a multi-cloud environment, so I'm always dealing with different things across Kubernetes environments as well as traditional VMs. I'm using Falco in traditional VM environments as well. And just some lack of support for different drivers and the whole process of having to go through and update that. And so really it struck me that since Falco is such a large, such a highly used CNCF project, it would make sense to me for folks like AWS and Google to have sort of use their own secure build pipeline to build Falco drivers versus, like say for me having to go and set up my own build pipeline for that to do my own, that sort of thing. So I kicked off a discussion with AWS and with Google on that. Didn't make a lot of headway with AWS, did with Google. So Google's looked at it. I shared with them some of the PRs I had recently put in for some of the kernels that were missing and showed them like, hey, this is sort of the issue that I'm seeing. What, this really seems like this is something that, really Google should do. And, maybe that's, like a pub sub interface that helps, that kicks off an event when there's a new kernel that comes out and people can consume that. And, they're not trying to scrape things and find things, or building it yourself. Google use your secure development pipeline to build that out. And so they've agreed in principle, and they've added that to one of their internal backlogs. So it's not up for they're not taking it on yet, but there's interest in it. And so when they do, they'll come back to me, and then I'll point them to y'all and sort of connect the two groups together and figure out kind of what works best. So no action for now, but did make some headway. So I wanted to update everybody on that.
Okay. So do you expect Google to open testing for pull requests with new kernels, or it will be some sort of automated thing?
This would be like automation on Google's part. So
okay.
Google doing Google doing the heavy lifting to generate kernel drivers so that they're all ready as soon as Google comes out with one of their own kernels, right? Like they have a build pipeline that kicks it off, and so there'd be like a Falco driver sitting there waiting to go, and Google customers could point to their repo. Is kind of the general concept, right? But that's all open for discussion. Once it comes out of their backlog, then that's something where Falco team can have deeper conversations with Google about that.
Sorry.
No.
Okay. Yeah, if I understood correctly, basically Google want to create its own repository for drivers. So basically, they will build the drivers for their kernel and will host their repository so that Google user can consume this driver when deploying Falco. Is that correct?
Well, I think that would be the right way to approach it, but that'll be a point of
Okay.
discussion, right? I think
Okay,
that,
okay.
yeah. So I don't want to, yeah. So what I'm trying to do is to get Google interested in taking on that work, which they've, I think in essence have agreed to. They just put on the backlog, and then connect them with the team here.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to represent all of.
Yeah, okay.
that.
Sure.
I'm just trying to
But
put the parties together.
So-
anyway, this solution or another similar solution could be great for us anyway, because if they publish their own driver, we could redirect our user to their repository for Google kernels or something like
I
that.
was
So
exactly thinking the same, because Jan opened a pull request to enlarge Falco driver loader to allow multiple drivers repo to be used.
exactly.
So we could add the new repository from Google as a secondary repository on our Falco driver loader. Well, that will be the easy solution. So, but we need to wait on Google about this.
By the way,
Yeah,
I'm
and
going
I have
to
no idea in terms of time frame for when Google might take that out of their backlog. I have, I don't know if that would be weeks or months or years. So that'll be something I'll have to, but if as I hear more, I'll let y'all know.
By the way, I'm going to approve your pull request because I already reviewed it, just forgot to push the button. So
Okay,
it
cool.
will be mentioned soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, man. So is there anything else left to be discussed?
I just
No?
want to comment
Nothing?
about that topic. I think it will be easier for everybody if the major cloud providers are able to provide by themselves the drivers and probes and modules, because right now the solution we have is to crawl the list of kernels and build by ourselves the drivers, but we are facing more and more issues with our CI because we are reaching quotas, we are reaching we are already overloading our infrastructure to build drivers. So if we can externalize the building and the providing the distributions of these drivers, it will be a benefit for everybody. And at the beginning, I think DriverKit was made for that kind of purpose. Let companies to build by themselves the drivers and not rely only on what we can propose.
I agree. Thank you, Tom.
I agree. And by the way, I believe we have to well document how to implement a repository, because currently it's documented in the official website, but it's just a little sentence in the bottom of the page. I believe we should write some specification, I think like that, so other implementer can use it.
Yeah, I don't know how much we can, allow external repositories to be added to our Falco driver loader. I mean, if we can guarantee that the drivers artifacts are actually good, I don't know how can we do that outside of our own Falco security.
So, yeah, but I did not mean we should add those repositories by default. User can do that if they want. For example, Google user could add the Google repository and so on. Okay. But at least we have to create a standard. Basically, we already have a standard. It's basically the file path, but it's like a specification. I believe that we have to write down that specification somewhere as a reference for all the implementers. That's it.
I think we can replicate what they are doing for the M charts with an index.yaml listing all available charts. We can do so with all drivers, and we have to be really confident about security issues. Like we should provide artifacts with the hashes, for example, and maybe we can think about Sigstore or Cosign to enhance security of what we provide.
And by the way, sorry, this is a bit off topic, but in some way connected. I have a dream that maybe one day Falco Cattle or Falco or Falco CTL could be a replacement for the Falco driver loader script, and maybe a Go tool could handle in a better way all those repository and the download of the drivers. That's just a dream, but maybe we will do one day.
I thought you loved Bash.
As long as we remove Bash, I'm happy.
Leo, I had a question on that part only, which is the Falco CTL or Falco Cuddle, however you like to call that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to join Falco as a new contributor right now and trying to ramp up around it. I've been reading on the architecture and documentation in a bit manner. And for Falco CTL, I was trying to understand which specific areas are you looking for the contributions where I can ramp up more and contribute. I don't see many issues.
Yeah. The point was that basically Falco CTL was abandoned for a lot of time. I'm currently the only maintainer in that repository. Indeed, we are looking for two things. We are looking for contributors, but also for maintainers. I just started a quick discussion with Aldo and Lorenzo that are here. So they started their proposal, but we could create a working group or something like that to talk about Falco CTL. By the way, feel free to open an issue and say I'm volunteering to help or whatever you want, so we can start the discussion. And of course, I will be very happy to have you and everyone who wants to be involved in this project.
Thank you. I will do that.
You're welcome.
I think we are nearing the end. Last but not least, the famous question. Is anyone wanting to volunteer as MC for the next community call?
I can do it if you want.
Oh, incredible. Okay. That's great, Laura. Okay.
I had one point. Yeah, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah.
So I was going through Falco and I didn't find out the video tutorials regarding it. So are there any planning regarding to release any video tutorials regarding how to set up a Falco, how to work around Falco? Are there any plans?
There is already a course. It's a Falco 101 course. Have you already seen that?
No, I was not aware about Falco 101.
Yeah, yes, I can send you the link if you want to have a look to it. Yes, it's a very easy to follow with interactive labs. So ping me on the Kubernetes Slack channel, and I will send you the link to the course. Or
yeah,
Vicente, I just put it in.
Yeah, already shared that on the chat, right?
Yeah, so check the chat in Zoom and.
Yeah, sure.
And in the next weeks, we'll improve, I think, a lot the documentation, because we are lacking getting started guides for everybody. A lot of things are there, either in the blog post, either on some external articles. And I would like also we create recorded content for the Falco YouTube channel. Right now, we only have the records of these community calls, and we could also create content for specific aspects. I'm thinking about installation, also upgrading rules, plugins, all that kind of topics. I think it could be nice content, and if you have any requests about that, please share it in the Falco Slack channel of communities.slack. We have a list of content to create, and we'll see how to do so. Right now, the main priority is about to update the documentation, fill all the gaps we may have. For example, we don't have any page about the methodology around Falco, because Falco has metrics with in Prometheus standard. We need to write things about that.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good idea. Also, in general, a video tutorial, even if they are short video that just explain how to install Falco or how to do one thing, it's always easy to consume. It's a good idea.
So Atarva, send me the items you haven't found, what you think is missing. So that would help me to identify which components we have to improve. And if you go through the course and you want to send me also some feedback, I will really appreciate.
Yeah, sure. I will go through the course.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think this is the end of the call. So thanks for joining and see you next week.